A man who was fired from his own company, yet returned to change the world, a rebel, a visionary, a perfectionist. Steve Jobs wasn't just an entrepreneur, he was a storyteller, and his story is one of the most extraordinary in modern history. Stephen Paul Jobs was born in 1955 in San Francisco. His birth parents, unable to raise him, gave him up for adoption. He was taken in by Paul and Clara Jobs, an ordinary couple who promised to give him a chance at an extraordinary life. From a young age, Steve showed curiosity that bordered on obsession. He took apart radios, televisions, and machines, not just to understand how they worked, but to imagine how they could be better. In school, he was brilliant but restless. Authority never sat well with him. He wanted freedom. He wanted to invent. In his teenage years, Jobs met Steve Wozniak, an engineering genius. The two formed an unlikely friendship. Woz was the builder, Jobs the dreamer. Together, in 1976, inside a small garage in Los Altos, California, they built the Apple I computer. It was clunky, but it worked, and it was just the beginning. Soon after came the Apple II, a sleek, user-friendly machine that brought computers into homes and schools. Apple wasn't just a company, it was a revolution. In 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh. It wasn't just a computer, it was a bold statement. With its graphical interface and mouse, it was unlike anything the world had seen before. But behind the scenes, tension grew. Jobs' perfectionism clashed with colleagues and board members. He was demanding, often ruthless, unwilling to compromise. In 1985, at just 30 years old, Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple, the very company he had created. To many, it looked like the end of his story, but to Jobs, it was just the beginning of a new chapter. Jobs started over, founding Next Computers, a company ahead of his time. Though Next never became a commercial success, its technology would one day become the foundation for Apple's future. At the same time, Jobs bought a small animation studio from George Lucas. He renamed it Pixar. What seemed like a risky plan soon turned into magic. With films like Toy Story, Pixar didn't just make animations, it created worlds. Jobs' belief in creativity, design, and storytelling transformed Pixar into a giant. In 1997, Apple was struggling, on the verge of collapse, and in a twist of fate, the company returned back to the man it had once abandoned. Steve Jobs returned, and with him came a wave of innovation. The iMac, the iPod, iTunes. Each product wasn't just a gadget, it was an experience. Jobs pushed his teams to build technology that was not only powerful but beautiful, technology that felt human. Then in 2007 came the moment that changed everything. Jobs walked on stage and introduced the iPhone, a phone, an iPod, an internet communicator, all in one. The world gasped, competitors scrambled. Overnight, the smartphone era began. Jobs had once again redefined the way people lived, worked, and connected. But behind the iconic black turtleneck, Jobs was fighting a private battle. In 2003, he had been diagnosed with cancer. For years, he walked through treatments, refusing to slow down. His mission was bigger than himself. It was about leaving something that would outlive him. On October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away at the age of 56. The world mourned, but his legacy, his vision, lived on. He once said, "We are here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here?" And he did. From the garage in Los Altos to the pockets of billions of people worldwide, Jobs' story is a reminder. Greatness is born not from comfort, but from courage. Steve Jobs thought differently, and in doing so, he changed the world.